This is Ruesha and I's new show. Have you got any advice for Ruesha being on talkSPORT?
Tell Ruesha to do anything but be herself.
That's the best advice she's ever been given.
Yeah.
How have we been trusted to do this?
I'm wondering if a professional setup will maybe make you a bit more professional, or...?
I think for like the first 10 minutes and then I will be absolute carnage.
What's the priority right now for women's football? And is it the medical, the infrastructure, the training facilities? Is every club that has its own self-interest?
2007?
2007.
Don't make him like that anymore.
I'm doing my UEFA right now.
Oh, girl.
Currently.
Favourite talkSPORT personality? You don't listen, do you? Would promotion to the WSL be like the highlight of your career, if that's to happen? Good luck getting into your club on Monday, hen. Hello and welcome to our brand new show, The Kickback. My name's Shebhan, joined by my ugly twin sister, but professional women's football player, Ruesha Littlejohn. This is weird.
This is so random, but I kind of like it. How have we been trusted to do this?
I'm wondering if a professional setup will maybe make you a bit more professional, or...?
I think for like the first 10 minutes and then I will be absolute carnage.
This is the point, though.
What's the point?
We're kicking it back. You kick back, you relax, put your feet up. We'll talk about football. We'll talk about women's sport. We'll talk about those big achievements that we kind of don't get to focus on an awful lot.
I'm more focused on like me and my opinion and how many people I can offend, and I feel like that's good for the name because that's a kickback. Think of all the kickback, all the drama we will get from this. I'm loving it.
Literally, you need to be careful because anytime we do anything on YouTube, Ruesha will say something hasty towards Arsenal fans or make fun of somebody, and then they'll come for you. The women's football fans, not only should they be private investigators in their spare time because they'll find out anything they want to find out, but they're also savage at the same time.
They're an intense bunch. Speaking of Arsenal, I can see that you're dressed for the weekend. Yeah, looking forward to it. Is it next week?
I don't
for the
care
season
anymore
kicking
about
off.
saying it.
Yeah.
I want to see Arsenal win something this season.
I'm actually looking forward to the season's only starting and I know shock horror I'm injured. Hence why I've missed the first 2 games of the season already, but I can't wait until I've got an excuse to actually sit with a little whispering angel on the table and we can really get stuck into things.
Do you know what they've actually said? We can have a drink if we want.
Well, you can. It's probably a bit early for you now. Well,
is it?
Well,
I've been up since 2:30, so it's really my night time now.
You'd be lashed.
I would be absolutely swallowing
You'd be getting
on
us
the train
cancelled.
home.
They'd be like, look, ladies, we're not going to continue this anymore. That's enough. Please go home.
On the Thames link, heading back home singing about Arsenal. But what's wrong with her? But yeah, this is very exciting. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm glad it's with you because I don't know, you're just always close to getting cancelled, and I really hope I'm there to witness that when it does happen. And we are going to talk about the Championship. In case you don't know, by the way, Ruesha plays for London City Lionesses in the Championship. They're pushing for promotion. They were the only team not affiliated with the men's side. And now, of course, they've been taken over by the absolute, legend that is Michelle Kang, who bought over London City. She owns Washington Spirit. She owns Olympique Lyonnais. So we're going to talk about that, what's next for London City in the Championship. But, of course, we're building up to the return of the WSL. I can't wait.
Do you know what? I feel that I'm fitting into the category of women's football fans where I'm a bit intense, excited. I'm looking forward to watching it, and I hope I've actually been going, when's my game on the Saturday? Obviously, I won't be in the squad yet for my own game, so I'm thinking, right, if I can manage to watch the Arsenal-Man City game, I want to do that, and I know I should be supporting my own team, which I am. I absolutely am wholeheartedly supporting my own team. But wow, what a game. You've got the return of Beth Mead at the Emirates. Amazing.
I cannot wait. I mean, we're already building this up as Viv against Arsenal.
We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that. We're not doing that. It's not about that. But it's just I want to see Viv, touch wood. I hope that she this season can crack on and be fit and be healthy and show everyone what she's capable of. Obviously, the end of her Arsenal career probably didn't go how she wanted it with the ACL injury, and then I think she had a few niggles on the back of that. So it takes time. It's going to take time for her to return to full fitness. But just what a player she is.
I just want to see goals. I'm sick of this namby-pamby already. That's not what it should be. We've got to give her time. I want to see her smash them in.
Do you want to see her get a red card? Do you want to see her go up to someone, Jonas, and just 2-foot him on the sideline? And go, you shouldn't have messed with me, boy.
Just imagine.
The drama.
Honestly, it's going to be great. We're going to get into more details.
The thing is, though, the Emirates they totally respect Viv. Do you know what I mean? Every Arsenal fan respects Viv, so she'll get a great homecoming. Is that what we're calling it? Homecoming?
I think, yeah, I guess we kind of could call it Viv's return.
Yeah.
Viviana made him a 2.0 or 3.0 because she's had a few.
She came back from the dead? What do you mean?
Yeah, I don't
know. Okay.
She's not she's not dead.
Right, moving on.
Anyway, yeah, moving on. Are you allowed at the Emirates? Are you not like banned from the Emirates?
I'm not banned from the Emirates. I just think it might get heated. There might be a section of the fans that are like, you get out of here, woman. And there'll probably be some that'll be happy to see me. Like, oh, look at her. Look at her. Useless. Injured again.
We can't talk about why Ruesha is kind of banned from the Emirates, but
I'm innocent. I'm innocent, always innocent.
Always innocent.
Innocent until proven guilty.
And the Arsenal fans will find out if you are guilty. They will find you out.
Guilty of what, though? Guilty of what? Just being absolute banter.
Being a badass. Sorry, I swore. All of that and more coming up on the brand new show, The Kickback. And we're also going to be kicking back with Arsenal legend Beth Mead about what the Gunners are expecting to do this season and what they're hoping for. But before we hear from Beth Mead, we can now welcome to the show another Arsenal legend, Anita Asante. Welcome along to the studio, kicking it back, Anita Asante, the legend that is, former Arsenal, former Chelsea, just broadcaster, kind of doing everything.
Lioness.
Yeah.
Lioness. Legend of the game. Absolute legend of the game.
There's something else I've forgotten out.
Villa. She was at Villa. Yeah. But Nates, did you ever think you would see the day that me and you are kicking it back in a studio?
No, I didn't. We're normally kicking it back at pre-activation half an hour before everyone else.
Loading our Achilles.
Loading the old bodies. So.
Yeah.
How are you? I'm so glad you're our first guest because you're a proper WSL, having been there and done it all. And the game's like going on to another level now, and now you get to speak about it, which is great.
Yeah, I feel honoured to be your first guest, obviously. But yeah, no, it's been amazing. I think for all of us to sort of witness the growth of the WSL, in the fan base, the level of competition as well, and it's exciting to see just how far it can keep going.
And you're a mama now as well, you have a baby at home with everything just happening, and then you look at your wee girl and think one day she could be a footballer, and it's such a different world now.
100%, and I think I'm trying to force the issue by having inflatable balls all around the house. But 100%, obviously you'll know it's probably the hardest job there is to be a mum and raise a child. But I think what a great time for her to be growing up in, seeing women's football across TV on all different platforms, and hopefully, it becomes her norm. She'll just walk into that world and think, I can do it, and there's no sort of barriers or obstacles to doing that.
I've got a big question there. Who will she represent? Will it be Wales or England?
Oh, Rush, you do what you do.
Don't rile up Beth at home. Don't rile up Beth. Someone check the Twitter.
I'm 100%
I'm actually sweating.
But seriously, if your wee one is good enough to represent the international stage, who would she want to choose?
Ultimately, it's her decision, but my part in that is taking her to as many games as possible at Wembley or wherever to watch the Lionesses, and hopefully she just falls in love with them and is like, that's exactly where I need to be. So, where my goal is on that one.
It's funny because Ruesha's niece, my daughter, is now torn between mum being Scottish, half Irish. Our auntie plays for the Republic of Ireland. She spends a lot of time at games anyway. She keeps singing about Beth Mead being on fire. Then we talked to her about the Lionesses, and we're like, who are you going to choose? And she's always going, now, England. And Ruesha's like, no, written up all the flags and all that she's been drawing. You don't say that.
Really?
Take that word out.
It's a bad word. That's money in the swear jar, actually.
It's a swear word.
But
it's
brilliant, and we've got lots to look forward to this season as well. I feel like we've said that the last few times, and we know, having you guys been in the game for so long, but as we've watched the game progress since following you guys, but is this a new level of standard in terms of where the game is going, the WSL growing again, and the Championship?
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, I mean, the investment is unreal, especially at the top level of the game, the money going into the quality on the pitch and obviously the resources. I think there's still a ways to go. I think there's still parity that needs to happen between the clubs sort of sitting in the middle and the bottom of that top WSL and obviously the Championship are trying to be more professional. But generally, I think in terms of attendances, you're looking at Arsenal and the Emirates, and Chelsea playing at Stamford Bridge, and Man United at Old Trafford. Like, clubs are starting to really support their women's teams, and I think that's obviously helping the product grow. But you know, I think we wish it could happen sooner.
Absolutely. But I don't know if I'll be able to compete actually now. I'm past it a bit, but yeah. But I totally agree with what you're saying there. But I fear that the top 3-4 clubs might be breaking away. If you look at like the investment they've got, like the salaries that their players have got on, and the players that they're attracting compared to teams at the middle and the bottom. So it's like, how do we balance that out? Obviously, we've got the new co coming on board, but how do we benefit from that? How will we make it work? How will we make it an even playing field is what I want to know.
Well, I just think that's the challenge, isn't it? Is that the football kind of culture is every club, it has its own self-interest, and they want to build as quickly and as success as quickly as possible. So are they looking at the wider picture, the wider competition? And obviously clubs get left behind if they can't marry up to that, and they're going to try and look at different avenues to try and compete to do that. But I think it's going to be difficult, because we're seeing with the professional game, the way it's going, that's just something that happens. And I think it will be up to NUCO to think about creative ways to make sure that they can keep the competition as competitive and as fair as possible.
So do you think now, Anita, that we're going to see potentially what we've heard rumoured in the last couple of years, that there might be maybe no relegations from the WSL at some point, and then maybe 2 promotions from the Championship in order to grow the WSL and then get more teams into the Championship? Is that going to happen at some point?
I think that is something that potentially could happen. And I think it's always important to place context as well on the women's game and where it is. You know, ultimately, everyone would love it to be like the Men's Premier League one day and all of that. But it's at a stage now where it's growing so quickly, and we need the infrastructure and everything to grow at the same speed with the same quality around the quality on the pitch. And if that requires us getting more clubs into the top division with more competitive games, I think it will benefit everybody, you know, not just the ownership, the players, the fans, experience as well, the clubs around the country, that it's not just, you know, predominantly southern clubs or predominantly northern clubs, it's the northeast, northwest, it's everywhere, covering geographically. But ultimately, I think, you know, it's about increasing games, quality of games for players. You know, we talk about the competitions they play in now, all the cup games, Champions League in Europe, international games. They need that exposure, and they need that exposure physically, I think, to cope with the demands of a growing game with a growing fixture, you know, calendar as well.
It's something we see, isn't it, with the Champions League as well? The teams going to the Champions League, not having then that level of experience, then that's it, they're out. But then to try to get a Europa League or something involved in the women's game would be great in time.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that we're another while away from that.
I want it now.
We can't have it yet. We can't have it, not yet. No, patience, please. But like we're saying, like players having to cope with the demands of these games too. Even that is the teams like your Arsenal, Chelsea's, Man City's that are maybe competing in Champions League, so they've got those fixtures. And I feel like teams at the other end of the table don't have enough fixtures. So it's so all over the place. And then you've got the teams that are in the Champions League that are playing a lot of fixtures that'll go all the way to finals, semi-finals. There's a lot more demand in their bodies, but I think medically, teams don't have enough staff and behind the scenes to cope with the demands. You look at the men's game and you've got like a player, you're the player, you've got probably a doctor, you've got a masseuse, you've got a sports therapist, you've got a physio, you've got a nutritionist, you've got access to everything.
One-to-one care.
Do you know, one-to-one? Yeah, so we're miles off that. So how will females be able to cope with the demands now too?
Yeah.
It's so interesting, but it's not a quick fix.
It isn't. It's something that's going to take time, and it's also about what are we collectively in football going to prioritise? What's the priority right now for women's football? And is it the medical, the infrastructure, the training facilities, all those things to nullify injuries and all of that, I think is ultimately going to impact what is delivered on the pitch. So fundamentally, that's what we have to look at first. And keep building that up and keep building, like I said, that parity between the clubs that are sitting in survival mode in the WSL and the clubs that are in the top fighting for titles. And
you've seen that when you worked at Bristol as well in your coach role there. The difference, say for example, you being at Villa the season before that and then going into Bristol, how different was that from like a professional standard?
Yeah, I think Bristol was a very unique club in that sense. You know, they know that they can't compete in terms of budget with the top end of the clubs, but their way of trying to be resourceful and gain those kind of advantages was integrating the women's team into the first team men's setup in the club, so that it just felt like one club. You know, as staff, we were, you know, open plan building, we can interact, we can gain knowledge, share knowledge, all of that. They were trying to play games out of Ashton Gate. As we know, they had some of the highest attendances in WSL last season as well.
Which is unbelievable.
Yeah. So I think they were trying to make the most and do the best with the resources available to them. You know, the biggest difference for us at Villa was a newly promoted side. We had the pressure and the stress of trying to stay in the top division and compete week on, week out with a team that was full of experienced players, inexperienced players, international players, you know, a young coach in my first season there. And obviously then when Colour Ward took over, it was just a case of a bit of survival again, wasn't it? I think, you know, we had lots of challenges on and off the pitch. And that was the sort of thing we had to navigate. But it's always tough, I think, for newly promoted sides because they've got no vast experience of that level. So you're quickly catching up to that level and finding out what is it.
Yeah. What's your nickname for Carla Ward?
Wardiola. Is that?
Wardiola.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's good. It flows well.
Well, she's got a
been away
US Olympics medal around her neck.
I know.
We need to get her on the show.
We need to get her on the show, actually.
I want to see that medal as well.
Yeah, I know. Apparently, that's a shame. Apparently, the Emma Hayes and the backroom staff didn't get the actual gold medal.
What?
They got another version of a medal.
You joking?
I think they'd right. They didn't get a ball. They don't deserve it. It's fine.
Emma Hayes hung it up on her over her kitchen sink, didn't she? That she normally does, where she hangs her medal, and it was just. I was like, honey, that ain't no Olympic gold.
Really?
Not what that is.
Oh my gosh.
That was like, thanks for coming, medal.
I'd be raging. I mean,
I'd be like,
who do we call?
Because Emma Hayes didn't launch it as someone.
Yeah.
Anywho, just quickly before we move on, Arsenal have signed Mariona Caldente. She's won a couple of Champions Leagues. I'm hearing through multiple sources that she's an unbelievable player in training. Her standard is exceptional. The players that are coming to the WSL and the Championship is quite exciting as well. Is that the first priority for a club, to sign a big name?
Massively. It's a statement signing and one they had to make, in my opinion, because you're losing a player of the quality of Viviana Miedema, you know, the all-time WSL goal scorer. You need someone who's going to come in with that kind of calibre, that winning experience, you know, has won Champions League, is a World Cup winner, is also, I think she is like the 5th all-time goal scorer at Barcelona. She's bringing in that kind of leadership quality in that position as well, and a creativity, hopefully, that she can create in there. But for me, it's so exciting to see a player like that, and it's going to be exciting to see whether the other players are like on her wavelength.
Interesting you say that,
Barca
because
style.
I won't say who said this to me, but one of the girls were actually at, I will not throw anyone under the bus. But apparently watched the game recently at Bournemouth and said that Caldente looked as though she was on a different level from the players in her own team, that people just were not on her wavelength. And I'm like, it's amazing. It's going to be so good to see her. I've obviously seen her play a few times, and she's just constantly moving, looking for the ball, turning, getting up. She's just a quality player, so it's going to be so exciting to see her. Hopefully Arsenal can keep her fit, and it'll be interesting to see how the players adapt around her, because I take it she's going to be the playmaker now. She's got to be, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also that idea of like her identity is so linked to that Barca style of play, and all those players are sort of born into that identity. So how she'll cope with that in the WSL, which we know you kind of got to be adaptable as well. It's not always possession based. Sometimes it's counter attack, and sometimes it's quite physical. You know, how she copes with that. But I think her movement and her intellect, you know, as a footballer is super, is world class. Really.
Do you think she'll be happy with a Conti Cup?
No. No. People don't want more than a Conti Cup. 100%.
She will. So it'll be interesting to see how Arsenal can crack on in other competitions, you know. Will she get frustrated? She's been playing with players around her also. Pateas, Bonmati, players like that. That's the kind of quality she's been around. And I'm not saying Arsenal don't have that quality, but it's different. It's totally different. People have actually been saying, I'm Caldente of the Championship.
No, they haven't. No one's ever said that.
No one said that.
Absolutely. Miles off it. And another legend for Arsenal looking to go all the way and win the title this time is Beth Mead. And I was lucky enough to sit down with her, all thanks to McDonald's. Beth Mead, the legend that is. Welcome to the kickback. You went, that's not true. It's not true. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Busy,
Yes.
but in a good way.
Busy because, like, being the summer, but I feel you guys are everywhere at the minute. And then pre-season underway and it all kicks off at the weekend. It's huge.
Yeah, there's a lot of games in a short period of time. Big games, Champions League, City, at the Emirates, all guns blazing.
It is indeed.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah. Tell us about what you're doing today with Making It with McDonald's.
Yeah, Making It is giving opportunities for youth to get the chance to get a coaching bursary. Obviously, there's a lot of barriers of coaching courses being too expensive, them not being able to get the chance to afford to be able to do it. And I think being part of, obviously, McDonald's, and we want people to be involved in football. Some might not always want to be footballers, but they want to be coaches, or they want to be a part of football in some kind of way. So we are giving the opportunity for 100 youth people to be put through coaching and getting the opportunity to be able to do that, as well as obviously being part of a football environment. So
that's brilliant. Have you ever wanted to be a coach? I mean, I know that's like further down the line, but I've never thought about you as a coach. Is that like a future?
I'm doing my UEFA right now.
Oh, girl.
Currently, so I love football. I love talking football. I love tactics. I'm part of the game. So yeah, me, Kim Little and Leah Walter are doing our UEFA at the moment together, so that's quite nice. Who knows if I want to be when I'm older, but I think, and I'm not playing football right now, I don't want to be a coach because I'm still playing, but it's nice to have the opportunity to do it while obviously being supported, like obviously McDonald's are doing, so we're getting the support doing it, so why not try and delve into something different?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you're then exposed to the initiative and something that might be another career for you further down the line. Let's talk about the weekend. All underway, like you say, back at the Emirates, which is just becoming so normal and brilliant. How are you feeling about it? It's a big game.
It is a big opener, but I think we're used to them a little bit, Arsenal. We like a good big game to start off with, obviously at the Emirates, which we're trying to make our home fortress against obviously City, who are going to be a very, very tough team to play against this season. I'm sure Vid's super excited to be coming to play against us, but yeah, no, it's exciting to start the campaign against such a good team, and obviously if we get a win, it's a very good start indeed. It's
one of those ones where you look at how things have changed. Are you guys used to it now, the players and the Arsenal squad, like back to the Emirates again at the weekend? Is that becoming the norm for you, and how exciting is that? It is becoming more normal, and it's feeling more like home. I think obviously having a few games there last season, selling it out, the fans are incredible, second to none, and I think they make it feel a little bit more comfortable in games, and there's a lot more noise surrounding us compared to 3,000 that we can get at Boreham Wood. So yeah, it's exciting, and it's exciting to know that we get to play a lot there this season. I mean, RIP Boreham Wood when the time comes, because no disrespect, it's the coldest place in the world. Honestly. But then you go to the Emirates and it's proper glam, isn't it? But it's the best atmosphere, Beth. Like, I feel like when I'm there, we're at the carnival, there's dancing, it's just a good time. Honestly, it's so good. I think everybody that come, like, I've not heard anyone say a bad word about it. They have a good time. The club are really good in, sorting so much stuff out for people to be able to do from minute one, from getting there to obviously when you're leaving. And obviously it'd be nice if the result's good as well. So, no, it's a nice place to come, and the atmosphere has been incredible every time we've played there. Okay, so Arsenal, and into like the detail of the season, it's been a tricky couple of seasons, hasn't it? What's the ambitions? What's the feeling amongst the team? I think it's been a frustration the last few seasons. I think we've had the squad to do better, win more trophies. I think now the league, everything's becoming increasingly more competitive and difficult, which is hard now. We've just got to be consistent. We've got the quality within the squad. We've got the depth. We've now got to be consistent, and we've got to put the performances on the pitch. And
that's something that we know as players, as a team, that we need to be doing a lot better than we did the last few seasons.
Champions League also, more game time, more travel, the injuries that followed Arsenal and yourself, the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Is there more focus on that now, Beth?
I mean, we've looked into a lot of it as players, as staff, as a club. Hopefully we're homing in on them a little bit better than we have in the past. It's part of the game, unfortunately, and that's why we've got to have the depth within the squad, and hopefully with the amount of games that we have, we'll manage ourselves through it, and the staff as well.
You're right, it's part of the game, unfortunately. It just feels like we see it a lot. Talk to me about the competition around this season, because we've seen the growth, we've seen the standards just increase season on season. Chelsea have a new manager, saw you floating about with Lauren James earlier on. I mean, what's the mood like there? Are they looking to get a 6th title in a row?
I mean, I think that will definitely be at the top of their list. I know if that was me, I'd be wanting that as a player who's already done it so many times. But yeah, we're not going to roll over this season in Arsenal team. I know things are very different there. Lauren was obviously saying Sonia's very different to Emma, so it's going to be a new dynamic, a bit of a different type of team to play against. But I'm excited. I'm excited to play against every team. Every team poses a different challenge, different competition, different styles of playing. We've got to rise to that occasion and be better this season. And
is it a case of we want to win the league? There's no two ways about it.
We have to. We have to win the league, I think. We've got, like I said, we've got the quality there. We've got the ambition. We've got the backing. Now we've got to go and put our money where our mouth is.
This is Ruesha and I's new show. Have you got any advice for Ruesha being on talkSPORT? Because I feel that this could really be us getting cancelled, like, once and for all.
Yeah, true. Just tell Ruesha to do anything but be herself.
That's the best advice she's ever been given.
Yeah.
This is Kicking Back with Beth Mead. Okay, who's always late to training?
At the moment, Rosa Kafadji, the new girl.
Why? What's her excuse?
No excuses.
Teacher's pet.
Ooh, I'm going to say Kim Little.
Of course. Flashiest player?
Leah Williamson.
Is she?
Depends in what sense. Clothes flashy.
Okay.
I would say Katie likes a good car flash.
Oh, okay. Car flash?
Like a flashy car.
That what rocks up in a...
Yeah, big Merc.
Love that. Worst dressed?
I just find this one hard. I don't think we have anyone badly dressed, but everyone comes in a tracksuit every day. We're quite boring then.
Yeah,
unless Leah fancies a fancy day. I'd say she could be worse than best dressed in the same day.
Let's see, people like
I
that
would never pull it off, but
makes it stylish.
she would look good.
Yeah.
But I'd look like a bin bag.
Won't look that good.
Well,
constantly posing for selfies.
Rosa.
You've not sold Rosa?
No, I know. She was on the physio bed the other day, and me and Kim caught her doing a few selfies.
Brilliant. Most humble, other than yourself. Who gets it?
Ooh. Leah Waltey's pretty humble.
Yeah, she's very, very sweet. Who could be a film star after they've retired?
That's a good question, actually. I would put Mia Leah in there. I'd back myself.
Who would play you in a film about Beth Mead? Here, because that's going to happen, isn't it? Someone's going to commission that.
Who do I like? I like Sandra Bullock. I just like her as an actress. I think maybe Blake Lively would make me look a lot better. Maybe one of them two.
Love that. Very good.
Two.
Adele or Taylor Swift?
Taylor. But I do love Adele.
Oh, backtracked ever so slightly there.
I love Adele, but just, when I went to watch Taylor recently, it was just unbelievable. I've never seen Adele live, so I can't compare her.
Okay. Favourite talkSPORT personality? You don't listen, do you?
You. I was just making you sweat. Just making you sweat.
Beth, thank you for coming on. The Kickback. Best luck for the season ahead.
Thank you very much.
Did you hear that? What she said about me?
I heard what she said about me, so I don't know how I feel about that. So
I love how cutthroat she is. Kafadri's getting it. She is getting it. She's new at the squad.
Honestly, the new girl, just throwing her straight under the bus.
Can you be late when you're new to a team?
No.
So that's it. That's me decided already. Arsenal won't win the league on the back of that. New signings turn up late to training. Honest to God, honestly.
As long as she's got her selfies in the bank. Beth, they're talking about how important it is to have relaxation and have downtime in between games. You've got a young baby at home. I can't imagine relaxing is easy.
No, not at all. And downtime Downtime, what is that?
Yeah.
Forgot that what that is. But I guess for me, I just like at the moment, I'm just like, you know, in the gym every day at the moment, trying to just get in the right mindset and just have that peace of mind to just focus on me and, you know, health and all of that. But otherwise, just like hanging out with family and friends and, you know, taking nice walks.
And in the gym, you mean you're lying on the yoga mat?
Pretty much. Stretching.
Listening to a podcast.
Trying to find your podcast. What she said now.
One thing that did surprise me speaking to Beth, I don't know why, because I see her as such a current player with still so many years in the tank, but she spoke about doing the UEFA A. That's something you've done your badges. You done your UEFA B? You've been doing that for
I've been
4 years.
dragging that on for 4 years, I think now.
4 years?
Yeah.
Right.
I'll get round to it soon.
You'll get a UEFA D somehow.
She's busy on here, that's why.
Exactly, yeah.
Give her a day off.
Yeah. Shut her mouth.
Honestly.
But Beth as a coach, is that something you could see in the future? Beth Mead, manager of Arsenal?
I mean, why not? You know, if that's something she's passionate about and she's already, you know, she's learning while she's playing at the same time. You learn a lot from the coaches you work with and the players around you and those experiences. And she's obviously a quality player and a top international, and it's something that she'd be able to share with the next generation of players. I think it's great if you've got players that want to stay within the game and be part of the future in terms of coaching and elevating our sport as well.
I could see Beth being the first female manager to lose her job the quickest. I think that would be her. Yeah. That's how her career will go.
Why?
I'm only kidding. I don't know. I don't actually have a clue. I'm sure she's filled with a lot of knowledge. Like we've said, she's played at a very high level. She's worked with very good coaches in her career.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you have players that do that, but it's so hard. You'll know yourself, Neats.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to do the B licence and you're trying to actually then go out and take a session, it is so hard. It's not as easy as it looks.
And it's kind of intimidating because, you know, she might, you know, when she gets there, she might be a point where she's coaching players she's played with or played against, and those are your peers, you know, at the same time. So you've got to try to shut that out and focus on being that coach and delivering a message and getting those points across. But coaching is very much like teaching, and we've always just been the students, you know, so having that ability to do that, I think can be quite, can be quite scary at the same time.
Well, someone who's actually done that so well as a player, she's won at the highest level and has won as a coach at the highest level, is Sonia Bonpastor, new to Chelsea, of course. Chelsea, can they do 6 titles in a row with Sonia Bonpastor replacing Emma Hayes?
I don't see why not. I almost feel like it's hard to bet against them. You know, if you look at their pre-season as well, just relentless, the amount of goals they're scoring against teams like Feyenoord in the USA. They beat Arsenal as well on friendly. But just knowing Sonia as well, I played with Sonia when I played in America, and she fits into that bill of the mentality monster. You know, she's so hungry, she wants to win. Off the pitch, she's calm, she's relaxed, she can be quite outgoing and you know, funny and all of that. But on the pitch, she's like a completely different animal. And I can just see her bringing that element into her management style because she's been in these like high performance environments like Lyon, where it's all about winning. They've had a legacy of winning and she's had to maintain that, which is not always easy to do. And also, Emma Hayes has left the club in the best possible place it could be. When you look at the squad, you know, she's transitioned players out in the right time, I think, for the club. She's brought players in so that Sonia's had to do relatively little work in terms of transfers. So there's a stability there in a way with the team.
I think when you look at that Chelsea squad, just the depth of it is frightening. I think when you look at the other teams in the league, but you see that Chelsea team and the squad as a whole, there's competition throughout it. There's like quality players, experience, some younger players, there's some in between. But I just honestly right now, I'm going to say it, guys. I'm going to put money on Chelsea will win the Women's Super League this year. They will.
I don't know. I've got eyes all over City. Bunny Shaw, Viviana Miedema, both of them could stay fit. I mean, I think that's just this untapped force that we're going to see run amok in the WSL.
It's the depth for the Chelsea squad, though. Man City are obviously very good, very strong. They've kind of retained most of the players from last season. Obviously, they brought in Viv and a few others. They brought in the Japanese girl from West Ham. She's come in. Again, a great team, quality team, but I'm just looking at the depth for the Chelsea squad.
I mean, Chelsea, you can field 2 starting 11s.
Yeah.
Easily. but it's whether or not Sonia can keep those players motivated and happy. And obviously the level of rotation that might happen throughout the season because of all the competitions that they absolutely will be competing for. That will be their challenge, you know, how they can navigate that. But in terms of quality, depth, you know, all of that, they have it. Man City, I think they are they've had the most stability. They've had 2 seasons, you know, under Gareth Taylor with most of their transfer work done last season before. And they have that real clear identity and clarity, I think, in playing style. But when I look at the depth, that's where I think they're lacking a little bit, because you look at the players that have gone out from the club too. I think they've got like 3 or 4 young, you know, goalkeepers. I'm like, what do you need them for?
Yeah.
You need a backup to Hasegawa, who is, you know, top tier, but who else is slipping into that defensive role in the midfield, for example. That's where I'm kind of looking at City. But of course, in attacking sense, I mean, it's exciting, you know, Miedema, Rord, Bunny Shaw up there, Hemp, Chloe Kelly, whoever, you know, I think it's going to be
That is
exciting.
actually pretty terrifying when you say that. But I don't know if
I'm glad I'm retired.
Well, yeah. I don't know if you were
like-
going to say Gareth Taylor. Do you want to take me and Neats? We'll sit on the bench, back up the squad
I'll be
if
a
you
backup
want.
to Hasegawa. No.
Yeah.
Don't you dare put yourself down in here. Probably could. Give anyone a run.
Oh, Neats
for them.
good. Neats would get stuck in.
I know.
That's it. Just tidy up, keep the play
it a good
going.
go, yeah.
Fantastic, yeah.
Listen, you talk through both of those squads. It's quite exciting. I feel that already through that discussion, are you not considering Arsenal to win the league, or is that just too soon to call that?
For me, I just don't see it. I really think the title race will be between Chelsea and Man City, in my opinion. But I think Arsenal will, you know, be a close third.
Nice.
You know, I think they will obviously be trying to compete for the title. But for me, there's always been this psychological deficit missing with Arsenal a little bit.
Do you think they're too nice a team sometimes, the way they play?
Yeah, I think you've got to have some edge and you've got to have some grit and you've got to be ugly sometimes. And I think they lack that part of the game sometimes. And obviously, the difference for Arsenal could be keeping a full, healthy squad. You know, obviously injuries hit them badly last season. I think, you know, we'll see the effects of pre-season tours on lots of clubs. Will that have an effect? I don't know. I think the girls have had a lot of games and tournaments back to back. So could that have an impact? Potentially. You know, are the players completely unified, like in their sort of belief in what they can do under this management as well, is a question mark. So there's a few question marks over Arsenal.
And I think that's fair. I think a lot of fans will see it that way this season as well.
I mean, if you look at Arsenal, though, last season, they didn't miss out by much, but it's just a few games that they slip up on. That's what they're guilty of at times. And I agree also in the big games like Chelsea, they don't care what the game looks like. They'll just go out and win it. They'll let Arsenal dominate the ball if they have to, but then they'll just go and be ruthless and punish them. But Chelsea aren't scared to be, not nasty, but they're happy to get stuck in. You've got the likes of like Erin Cuthbert in the midfield, Sophie Ingle, whatever. They're happy to go, all right, let's go to battle. I'll put you in there if they have to. They'll win ugly. They'll do what it takes to win. And I think Arsenal are just missing that at times.
And they've got Hannah Hampton, you know. We don't talk about goalkeepers in this sort of creation phase aspect, but what she can do from that position is ridiculous in terms of relieving pressure, but also setting them on their way in counter-attacks. That could be a really vital threat for them.
Even that, she's a spare player at the back. She's happy to be on the football. She creates an overload by being, give me the ball, I'll be involved. Sometimes I'm like, Hannah, get in the goals, please. But she's very confident, and not many female goalkeepers can do what she does.
She used to be a striker.
Well,
Back in the day, she used to be a striker. You know, they say it never leaves you, but the way she pings that ball as well. I mean, unbelievable. Listen, we have to talk about Manchester United. Let's talk about Spurs, also Villa and Brighton. I mean, the transfer window that Brighton have had. Come there in just a second, but I can't help but just wonder about Manchester United. And you might know more about this situation, Neats, but are those women being looked after? Are the club giving them what they need to go on and build on winning an FA Cup?
Well, I think there's been a lot of noise and negativity coming out of the Northwest, as we know. I think the women being supposedly moved out their training facilities to accommodate the men and all of that wouldn't have helped their cause. I think the fans have been disgruntled with Mark Skinner, the manager, in terms of his team selection and rotations. But also we have to look at the transfers, players leaving the club on free transfers. It happened with Ruesha the previous season. It's happened now again with Mary Earps, who's a massive figure and leader in the team. I think that could be an issue for them this season. Zellem's gone out on a free as well. You're almost questioning their business. What's the model? What's the strategy going forward? Nikita Paris, to Brighton.
On deadline day?
Deadline day.
Bam! That smacked me right in the chops, that did. I did not see that coming.
No.
But it looks like a good move for Nikita. And when you look at people like that, players of such class who've been in football at professional level for a long time going, I actually want to go to Brighton. And Brighton's a well-run club, but it feels like Manchester United women are being neglected ever so slightly, and players want out.
Maybe, yeah. I think for Nikita Paris going to Brighton, she's obviously a quality player. She's played at a very high level. She's won a lot of trophies too, a lot of experience, and she'll be going now. And she had a very good season last season, but now I think she'll be going, well, I will be playing pretty much every minute in that Brighton team. She's going to be getting looked after. She's going to be valued. She probably wasn't valued at Manchester United sometimes. And if you want to talk about facilities, look at Brighton's facilities. You're world-class facilities, and then you're getting kicked out of your training ground at United. So I think when you look at that, it's probably a no-brainer. I know people going, it's a big gamble. Manchester United, massive club. Look where Brighton finished last season. What was it, 9th?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. So
And they struggled. Brighton struggled last season. Their transfer window has been unbelievable. That's a good squad now. Fran Kirby there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Frank Kirby, what a coup. That was a shock transfer as well, because I figured that lots of top teams would be after her, trying to get her in the doors. But, I think, again, for her, if she can stay fit and injury-free, she's going to have such an impact for that team, both on and off the pitch. And you look at the attacking lineup, Brighton really struggled for goals last season. They were dogged at times. They tried to be difficult to beat, but they really lacked that kind of creative threat going forward. But having her there, having Nikita there, now they've got options. They've got players that can actually do more and create more. And it's an exciting prospect for that underdog pack.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the one thing. So many players in, new players in, you go, how will they all gel together? But you've got a player there, the captain, Vicky Lozada, and she almost goes like, you forget about Vicky at times, because obviously last season, she's probably pulling her hair out with how Brighton played football last season. She's a footballer. She comes from Barcelona. Give me the football. Let's play passes. Now she's maybe get some players in that hopefully can get on board with that and sort of meet her style. So can she be the engine behind it to get these players on the ball? But yeah, I hope Fran Kirby stays fit, because she's not finished yet. She is not finished, and I think she'll be going, I've got a point to prove. I want to show that I can consistently play football, score goals, and do it for England again. So.
And there's something to be said about that point you made, those players are going to clubs like Brighton now because of what they have to offer in terms of resources and facilities. We know when you're getting to the latter stages of your career and you've been through kind of the pictures, the changing rooms, the showers that are cold, all of that stuff, to go somewhere where actually you're being valued and supported to sort of fulfill your potential and give everything, then that's almost more important sometimes than the kind of the badge, the name, the prestige behind that club as well.
And going to the Championship actually leads us nicely to London City Lionesses. A club now that's stepping up in its standards. It's getting a new pitch down just now as we speak, and looking to compete to getting up to the WSL, as are a number of clubs. The Championship's also becoming a really lucrative league.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this season it's probably going to be the most competitive yet. I say that every year, but I think it will be. But don't get me wrong, there is still a massive jump between the Championship and the WSL. It is huge. It's a long way to go. Even right now, we've got the likes of, obviously, Michelle King's come in, and she's wanting to make a mark in this women's game and the sport, and she wants to put everything into it to become the best. And we can see at London City, that's where she wants to take it. Obviously, it's going to take a bit of time right now. Mm-hmm. Again, not a quick fix. It's a process, and it's probably going to be a 5-year plan. But the players we've obviously brought in, our squad there's so much depth in the squad, but you actually need that right now, because we've seen already at our team, we've got a few injuries. Shock Cora, here I am again. But It's so good to see the way the game's going. You get the likes of Southampton. Obviously, we had Remy Allen come in last season as our caretaker manager. Now she's at Southampton. They've started strong. They've got a young team, a few experienced players in there too, but it's going to be interesting to see how she gets on. You've got Bristol City that have just came down from the WSL, so a strong team again. They'll be looking to go straight back up. Who else have I missed out?
Newcastle
again, investing. And I think they'll do okay. I don't think they'll be promoted yet. I'm going to just refer to London City last season we obviously brought in a lot of players and it was like let's push, but it's not as simple as that. It takes a bit of time. I think you have to get a feel for the league. And kind of, earn your trade a bit and then they'll maybe push on.
You've opened a World Cup for Republic of Ireland. You've been sent off at Parkhead, but would getting promotion to the WSL be like the highlight of your career if that's to happen?
I wouldn't say highlight of my career. Obviously, right now I would love to get to a Euros with Ireland. That is the goal right now. And obviously, London City, it's what we want to happen. Maybe if it happened, I might change my tune. I might be like, yeah, that was great. But like I said, it's the championship it's just different from the WSL. So it doesn't get me as excited. I don't mean to sound bitter or
oh my God.
upset,
Good luck getting into your club on Monday, Hen.
No, it would be massive. It would be absolutely huge. But I'm not saying it's the pinnacle of my career. Do you know what I mean?
What's the pinnacle of your career?
The pinnacle has to be the quadruple with Arsenal, I think.
2007?
2007.
Don't make him like that anymore.
See, but I mean, you're asking me getting promoted to the WSL with London City and she's thrown out...
At 34 when you're geriatric and you can barely walk 2 minutes without getting injured. Surely that's got to be a highlight. Yeah. Get her moved out of my loft. Sorry, Nick's back
no,
to you.
of course it's... I was going to say back to Ruesha. No, that's got to be... I mean, I was going to ask you, actually, what do you think that Michelle Kang is bringing to the whole club environment other than just her finances?
I think it's obviously we've seen a lot of changes within the club, like staff. There's a lot more staff come in, so they're obviously we've got an extra physio that's coming in. I think there's masseuses coming in. We've got our full-time nutritionist, full-time psych. We've obviously brought in PSG coaches and managers, so they've come in, and that's obviously massive. I think you're going to need to have really good managers to actually get the team playing a certain way and sort of push on. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him now because he's expected to sort of get promotion, deliver, But I think a woman like that, she wants results and it's a high-pressure environment, but obviously she's just trying to push the team forward. I think that, like, the players we've brought in, there's also another few players, I don't want to throw out names and put pressure on them right now, but and give away our, how we're going to do. But there's a few players that have came in and they are quality players. You can see that they're good. I think they'll do very well in the championship. I think it'll be interesting to see how other teams are with certain players because I'm sure they'll want to rile players up, get stuck in, wind them up. Yeah. That's what the championship's about sometimes. So it'll be great to see how players react. But I think when Jocelyn's come in, he's just total football. And obviously it's going to take a bit more time for players to... We've had players coming in and out all throughout the pre-season, so it's not as though we've had 10 weeks of pre-season together. There's some players like Sophia Jacobson's just come in the other day. So it's like it's going to take a bit of time to gel, but you can see that he wants to play football. That is his style and that's his identity. So I think it's going to be different for a team to take on the championship like this. I don't think there's been a team that will play this kind of style, but it's exciting. Will it work? I don't know, but bloody hope it does.
It would be great. I mean, I think I would be happier than you if London City got...
I think it would be your big highlight.
We'd be like, yes, and she'd be like, well, it's actually not the pinnacle.
Well, the thing is, like, the reality is now, the direction London City are going, there's some of us that are just there. Like, we're just there for part of the story and we'll be gone, so it'd be great to be part of the story. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be ruthless. They're going to be bringing in big players. That's the way it's going to be.
I was like,
no, it's true. You've got players right now that are there, that are going to be there to help, that know the championship, that have played there. And then you're going to, if they're promoted, which touch wood we are, it's going to be who else can we get in to compete in the WSL and actually get us up the table, not just survive, but climb the table. That's the ambition of the club right now. That's where they want to go. So,
Ruesha, the realist, am I right? Okay, quickly before we go, because I'm not sure she's going to have a club once this episode wraps up. Who wins the league?
I'm going to say Man City.
Okay, Rue?
I'm going with Chelsea.
Champions League?
Barcelona.
I want to say Barcelona, and then I just want to be mad and say Chelsea for Bants and see what happens.
Okay, well, this is the interesting one. Top goal scorer, Golden Boot.
Ooh.
It's quite a bit funny.
In the league or?
Yeah, sorry, in the WSL.
WSL.
Yeah.
Ooh. Bunny Shaw.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm going to go with Bunny Shaw, and I think Rach Daly will score a few goals this season too again. I think she'll have more chances. So.
Okay.
Good shout.
We'll just text her now and see if she can come on the show as well.
We'll do that too.
Do that as well. Carla, Rachel Daly.
Just tap them all up.
Get them in a group chat. Nates, it's been great to have you with us, kicking back with the first show and looking ahead to what's to come this season. So thanks for coming in. We do appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Nates.
Listen, see you over there with your TED Talks.
I'm actually going into motivational speaking.
If you've got a dream, stop now.
I'm going to tell you the harsh
I want
reality.
someone to just tell me it straight and call him Ruesha. just be real with me, you know?
You want some truth? Truth juice for Ruesha. Jesus, whip. Make sure you jump on to our socials. You can get lots more of the action there. But for now, you have to subscribe, give us a like, leave a comment. You can have your say in what you think is going to happen this season in the Championship and, of course, in the WSL. But for now, we will leave it here in the kickback. Ruesha, Anita, Asante, thank you very much.